What the hell did I just watch? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Craig's Horror Channel, and today I am talking about Dolly 2026, a movie that actually stars Seann William Scott. Yep, Stifler from American Pie. I actually did a trailer reaction on this channel for this upcoming movie, and I was very impressed of how old-fashioned it all seemed with the grainy footage and the realistic style. Now, it was kind of giving me Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes. However, this isn't Texas Chainsaw, this is Dolly, a really messed up movie that doesn't hold back. This was a pretty messed up storyline, so let's get into it. Macy and her boyfriend Chase travel into a remote wooded mounted area for a hike where Chase is actually intending to propose to Macy. While they are briefly separated, Chase encounters a large woman wearing a porcelain doll's mask as she buries this headless corpse that she is mourning over. Now, she ends up attacking Chase with a shovel, shattering his leg and brutally mutilating his jaw before leaving him for dead. Meanwhile, Macy is searching for Chase, and she ends up crossing paths with this masked woman and is pursued through the forest before being captured. Macy later on awakens inside a crib in a nursery within this woman's secluded house. Now, she soon discovers that another man is being held captive in a neighboring room, and then he urges her to comply with this woman's game and search for a key. This masked woman, who hereafter is referred to as Dolly, forces Macy into disturbing, childlike roleplay, subjecting her to humiliating and abusive treatment in an attempt to remake her into a baby. And when I say that Dolly actually forces Macy to roleplay as a baby, I literally mean the full shabam. Drinking milk from Dolly's boob, having herself cleaned up after she pees herself and is then put onto this kitchen table and is then wearing this adult style nappy. Yep, this is honestly one of those movies that just makes you think, what the hell am I watching here? But at the same time, you just cannot help but keep watching due to how messed up the movie is. Where are they going to go next? Honestly, it's just, yeah. It is safe to say that this film is different to any other type of horror film that I've watched recently. Now, aside from the very strange storyline and the baby role-playing game, this film is brutal. There are some brutal and painful death scenes in this movie that isn't for the faint of heart. I mean, Seann William Scott's character Chase, he goes through one of the most horrific, painful moments that drags on throughout the movie. It's very, very disturbing, and some disturbing imagery. If you know, and if you've seen this movie, then you know. It was horrific to see some of the things that came up in this film, and that is what you want in horror. So kudos to the makers of this film. You genuinely horrified me, and I'm probably never ever going to forget it. Now, I mentioned earlier how this film has that old school grainy look to it that really resembles the those old school classic horrors. Now, I really like what they did with that in terms of the old style imagery. It did feel like that there were a few small little nods to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was all scattered throughout the film, especially the ending scene, which I'm not going to spoil for you here, but it definitely had that same vibe going on in those final few moments. Now, it is not a perfect horror movie. I mean, there were a few small pacing issues. At least I felt that there were a few pacing issues. I would have liked to have got to know Macy and Chase a bit better as a couple before the carnage began. I do feel that it all started a little bit too quickly, particularly with Seann William Scott's character Chase, who, as I said earlier, goes through a very, very grim time in this movie. I would have liked to have learned a little bit more of the backstory of Dolly as well. I mean, how did she become this person, this crazed woman who dresses up as a doll and wears this incredibly creepy porcelain doll's face? In my imagination, I was just thinking that I was just watching some real crazy, maybe somebody who's escaped from an asylum and has then moved into this wooded area and is now left to do all of these crazy things. I mean, this is just the vibe that I was getting, because Dolly, she is absolutely nuts, and she is quite scary. She is this big, scary woman who literally just stomps around the house looking for you. It's absolutely terrifying. I mean, think of Miss Trunchbull from Matilda, the original Matilda, but a million times more worse. I can actually see this Dolly character ending up as a horror icon. Just give it time. As I said, I'm not going to ruin the ending of the movie for you, so don't worry, but things do get pretty brutal and bloody. And, oh yeah, there's actually a lot of creepy dolls in this film in the woods, like inside the creepy house as well. These dolls kind of resemble this woman's kind of weird, strange children fascination. If you don't like dolls, this film might just give you a heart attack. But in all honesty, I actually had a really good time with this one. It's only about 1 hour and 20 minutes long, which I actually thought was just perfect. It was the sweet spot runtime for this type of movie. I think any longer then it could have started to get a little bit tedious. So they really did hit the nail perfectly with the film runtime. And as I said, you know, it's not a perfect movie, but it will horrify you, and you will be like just thinking to yourself, what the hell am I watching? What am I putting myself through? And there are some really brutal, bloody scenes thrown into the mix. So, all in all, I am going to give 2026's Dolly a rating of 6.9 out of 10. I definitely would go back and rewatch this one, especially if I'm watching it with somebody else who hasn't seen it and they're watching it for the very first time, just so that I can see their reactions. Honestly, my horror fans, you need to go out and watch this one. Alright then guys, well, have you already seen this movie? If you have, then let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below. While you're down there, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for all future updates. And guys, just stay safe out there. The world is a very crazy place right now, but you know what? Continue watching horror movies. I'll see you all in my next video.